Incredible discovery, heartwarming rescue of little girl and her loyal shepherd reveals amazing community spirit. In the heart of a small Midwestern town, the sun set behind the lush trees, casting golden beams on a tale more dazzling than anyone could imagine. When 10-year-old Lily wandered off during an innocent camping trip with her mother, Sarah, the entire community rallied together in a relentless search for the girl and her ever-loyal shepherd, Max. With every moment that ticked by, it felt like a piece of hope shimmered and faded like the dying light of day, and yet, there was a spirit alive in the genteel air, a resolute energy fueling every heart beating with concern. "Mom, look at the butterfly!" Lily exclaimed, her laughter ringing out sweetly against the backdrop of nature. Enchanted, she dashed into the woods, leaving her mother just a moment too stunned to shout, "Wait!" The air was thick with promise, vibrant colors swirling in Lily's imagination. Moments turned to minutes, then hours, and as the sun dipped lower, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, a gut-wrenching dread gripping her. "Lily!" she cried, her voice trembling. Desperation clawed at Sarah as she linked arms with their neighbors, calling on everyone to join the search. Panic surged like an electric wave through the campsite. What should have been a serene summer night morphed into an insatiable storm of fear. The people in the town knew hardship, but this was a curtain torn down, revealing vulnerabilities they assumed others didn't see. The echoes of judgments whispered behind closed doors wound tightly around Sarah's spirit as she faced the grueling gaze of sympathetic eyes. The weight of being a single mother, struggling to make ends meet, hung heavy as they scoured the surrounding woods. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Meanwhile, Max remained an unyielding companion in this dark chapter, as if he sensed Lily's fear. Abandoned by the stampede of people searching the woods, he ran deeper, trusting his instincts. The days wore on and the town started to notice. Local celebrity news and social media chatter hung in the air, adding an urgency that began to feel suffocating to Sarah. Her estranged father appeared, complicating the atmosphere with shadows of their past. But through the chaos, Max's unwavering loyalty took precedence as he followed an unseen path, leading rescuers through branches and thorns. When Max finally sniffed out the hidden thicket, filled with soft rustling leaves, there stood Lily, muddy but alive, her eyes wide, hopeful yet weary. The moment they reunited, pure elation ensued, but bubbling beneath that joy was an undeniable tension, an unspoken question that loomed over the community, whispering doubts, prompting reflections about worth and belonging. And as the silhouettes of familiar faces drew near, the town stood at a precipice, tasting the bittersweet afterglow of discovery. Would they see through the barriers of economic struggle and embrace the essence of what it meant to be a family? Max barked joyfully by Lily's side, an unbreakable bond of love shimmering even amidst the uncertainty. With Lily in Sarah's arms, hearts ignited around them, bound by an unyielding desire for connection. But would it last? The story was far from over, and the journey towards healing had only just begun. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the weight of the moment settled in. The community of Maple Creek rallied around Sarah and Lily, their faces lit with relief yet refracted through strands of worry. Through an atmosphere thick with emotion, the warmth of unconditional support enveloped them. Lily nestled into her mother's embrace, feeling the solid heartbeat of safety return. Tears streamed down Sarah's face, not just from fear, but from gratitude. "You're okay," she whispered repeatedly, as if saying it enough times would cement that truth into reality. But the reality was layered with a complexity she couldn't ignore. "What now?" a neighbor murmured softly, casting a sideways glance at an animated crowd. Some folks celebrated, while others exchanged unsure glances. These were the whispers rising like smoke, reminders that trouble often lingered, Even when darkness receded, Max stood guard beside Lily and Sarah, his expressive eyes scanning the applauding crowd. He may not fully comprehend, but the dog felt the tremors of anxiety behind the smiles, the undercurrents of doubt coursing through the townsfolk. An old man approached, his steps slow as he'd been watching from a distance. "Sarah," he said gently, "it's time to talk." They had always respected one another, yet now, their past interactions felt weighed down by a heaviness neither could shake off. "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, the softness of Lily's hair against her cheek grounding her. "Might be time for you to let folks in," he replied, sincerity mixed with concern. "You're not alone anymore. We're all here for you." It was a simple statement, yet it beckoned a deep shift inside Sarah. The truth hovered there, almost tangible, and she could feel her heart trembling at the prospect of looking past her boundaries. As the community continued to buzz around them, Sarah realized how those walls she had carefully built were now tinged with fear and solitude. Maybe it was time to allow their love and strength into her life. Might it ease some of the burdens that weighed her down? For a moment, she dared to imagine it, a tapestry woven from open hands and friendly gestures rather than isolation. The night air turned cool, and laughter echoed amongst the gathering, but the weight of apprehension still hung. Families hugged tightly and shared stories, building a momentum of faith and hope, a community rediscovering itself. Yet for Sarah, standing amidst this welcome warmth, was it really enough? Would they accept her fully, messy past and all? Across the field, Max looked straight at her, deep understanding in his gaze. His presence reminded her that sometimes loyalty came in the unlikeliest of forms, and perhaps love could forge connections beyond the barriers she had erected. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Sarah faced the crowd, heart racing. She wanted to say something meaningful to bridge the gaps of the past. But just then, a mother's scream shattered the air, piercing the warmth. Immediately, all eyes turned, including Sarah's, anxiety pouring back in like a tide. "Lily!" someone shouted. The panic rippled through the crowd again, heartbeats quickened, and the sense of safety faded. What was happening now? In front of them, a shadow loomed dark and looming, and the night held its breath as uncertainty stirred once more. What could possibly be threatening them again? Sarah gripped Lily tighter, sensing the unmistakable tremor of fear as the ominous figure moved toward them, the crowd parsing back, dread swirling within its ranks. She saw the expression on Max's face change, muscles tensed. And in that fleeting moment, she realized that their journey was far from complete, yet the stakes had just risen dramatically. Would they all hold on together, or would this new challenge shatter the fragile peace they had found? The figure stepped into the flickering light, and the crowd collectively gasped. It was a man, tall and cloaked in shadows, his posture imposing yet strangely familiar. The tension hung thick in the air as he paused, scanning the frightened faces before him. "Who are you?" Sarah's voice trembled, but there was an edge of defiance nestled within her fear. Holding Lily close, she felt the little girl's small body start to shake, a mirror of her own anxiety. "I'm here for Lily," the man said, his voice deep and warm, yet layered with urgency. "You have nothing to fear. I promise you that." "What do you mean?" Sarah didn't budge, an unwavering protector. The crowd was now ensnared in a web of confusion and dread, some whispered to each other while others clutched their children. Max growled softly beside them, sensing the tension, his eyes locked on the stranger. "This isn't the ending you think it is," the man continued, taking a small step forward. "I know what happened to her. I can help." An electric pause followed his declaration, every ear turned toward him, hanging on to his words like a lifeline. The crowd stirred, uncertainty bubbling, when suddenly a woman stepped forward, her face pale but determined. "You know about Lily?" she demanded. "How do we know you're not dangerous?" "Because I've seen what happened to her," he stated, locking eyes with Sarah. "And I know who was behind it." The murmurings grew louder, apprehension ebbing and flowing with the night breeze. "What are you talking about?" Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, spurred by a mix of raw curiosity and feral protectiveness. "Who did this?" "I can't explain it all here," the man urged. "But there's a truth that needs sharing, and it's bigger than all of us." Sarah's instinct screamed at her to protect her daughter, yet something deep inside her stirred. She realized how much she wanted to know, to understand. "We need to go somewhere safe," she finally said, glancing around to assess the crowd. Could she trust this man? Could she trust anyone right now? "Follow me," he said, and without waiting, he turned, his shadow stretching as he led the way into the darkening woods beyond the outskirts of the town. A light breeze rustled the nearby trees, the whispers of the crowd trailing off behind them, confusion morphing into intrigue. With a wary glance, Sarah crouched down to Lily's level, brushing a strand of hair out of her daughter's face. "Sweetheart, I need you to trust me. We have to follow him. Just stay close to me, okay?" Lily's wide eyes searched her mother's face, vulnerability blooming in her gaze, but the innocence of childhood still lingered. "Okay, Mommy," she whispered, gripping Sarah's hand tightly. Max remained protective at their side, sensing the journey's gravity. As they moved deeper into the shadows, Sarah looked around, her heart racing. A haunting combination of fear and the flickering flame of hope ignited within her. What secrets lay ahead in the darkness? What answers were waiting for them? As they crossed the threshold of trees, a glimmer of light flickered through, drawing them in further. With each step, Sarah could feel the weight of uncertainty shift, the atmosphere thickening with impending revelation. What awaited them in the heart of those woods? And would this mysterious man lead to the answers she desperately sought or plunge them into deeper chaos? The darkness surrounded them, wrapping like a thick blanket as they followed the man into the woods. The light flickering ahead grew brighter, a beacon cutting through the night. With each step, Sarah's heart pounded louder, a drum echoing her trepidation. "Mommy, where are we going?" Lily's voice was barely a whisper, laced with apprehension. "We're going to find out the truth, sweetheart," Sarah replied, forcing a calmness she didn't feel. She could sense Lily's tiny hand shaking in her grip, and she tightened her hold, wishing more than anything she could shield her from the world's fears. The man led them to a clearing, where the moon illuminated a small circle filled with soft grass and wildflowers. In the center stood an old oak tree, its branches reaching wide like welcoming arms. The air was thick with the scent of pine and the sweet aroma of flowers, but it did little to ease Sarah's worries. "Here we are," the man said, slowing his pace. He turned to face them, his features becoming clearer in the moonlight. There was a kindness in his eyes that made Sarah feel, if only for a moment, that maybe they were safe. "Why do you want Lily?" Sarah demanded, a tremble creeping back into her voice. The panic surged inside her, threatening to spill over. "Because," he started, his voice steady, "there's something special about her, something that connects her to a much greater story. She's a part of something that could change everything." The gravity of his words hung between them. Sarah could feel the weight of his statement pressing against her chest. "What do you mean?" She pressed, desperate for clarity. The man took a deep breath, as if gathering strength. "I can't explain it all in one go. But Lily is linked to a force that can heal wounds both in this world and beyond. There are people who want to exploit that, and they won't stop until they get what they want." "What do you mean exploit?" Sarah felt her heart clench, a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. "You're saying, someone wants to hurt her?" The man nodded slowly, his expression grave. "Yes. But that's why I've come to protect her. To bring her to safety where she can learn about her abilities and the gift she carries. The only way to keep her safe is to embrace her true self." Lily glanced up at her mother, the innocence lingering in her eyes mingling with confusion. "Mommy, what gift?" she asked, a tiny frown marring her smooth forehead. Sarah knelt down beside her daughter. "I don't know yet, honey. But we're in this together, okay? We'll figure it out." Just then, a rustle in the bushes pulled their attention. Max growled softly, taking a protective stance before them. The man turned quickly, eyes narrowing, as a figure stepped into the clearing from the shadows. It was another person, cloaked but with an ominous presence. Sarah's heart raced as she felt the tension crackle in the air around them. The newcomer's eyes glinted in the moonlight, revealing an intensity that sent chills down her spine. "What are you doing with her?" the figure hissed, voice a slithering whisper in the night, dripping with malice. "Get back," the man warned, stepping forward protectively in front of Sarah and Lily. Panic erupted within Sarah. Who was this new figure? What did they want with Lily? She realized at that moment that whatever answers awaited them, danger was now at their doorstep. The air crackled with anxiety. Would they escape this threat, or would they have to fight for Lily's safety right here and now? The figure stepped closer, dark robes flowing like smoke in the night. The air grew heavy, charged with something sinister. Sarah felt Max tense beside her, muscles coiled like springs. "Who are you?" the man shouted, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "I am the keeper of the shadows," the figure replied, voice like nails scratching against wood. "And I'm here to take what is rightfully mine." Lily clutched at Sarah's leg, her little body trembling. Sarah glanced down, trying to mask her fear with a reassuring smile. "Stay close," she whispered, fighting to keep her voice from quaking. The man took a step forward, challenging the shadowy figure. "You won't harm her. I swear it." With each word, Sarah could feel the electricity of the man's resolve. It flickered through the air, steadying her own pounding heart. She couldn't lose Lily, not now, not ever. The cloak shifted slightly, revealing a glimpse of a face twisted with disdain. "You think you can protect her? You know nothing of her power. But I do. And she belongs to me. Lily is not yours." The powerful declaration came with a ferocity that surprised even Sarah. The man stepped further into the clearing, creating a barrier between Lily, Sarah, and the encroaching darkness. "Her gift is not for the darkness," he said, voice low and firm. "We will not let you take her." The wind picked up, rustling the leaves of the ancient oak as if urging their fight. The atmosphere thickened, clinging to them like fog. Such brave words, the keeper of shadows mocked, its voice dripping with condescension. "But bravery alone cannot protect you. Darkness always finds a way." Lily's grip tightened on Sarah's leg, her little fingers digging in. In that moment, Sarah felt the full weight of motherhood. The instinct to protect her child was primal and fierce. "You will not take her. Not while I'm here," she declared, anger surging through her. In response, the other figure waved a hand, and a sudden gust of wind knocked the man off balance. Fear shot through Sarah with an icy tendril as she saw him stumble. "Stay close to me," she urged, bending down to scoop Lily into her arms, holding her tightly. As the man struggled to regain his footing, Sarah saw the glimmer of something in the pocket of his cloak, a small, glowing stone, pulsating with energy. "No!" he yelled, barely managing to stand. Before she knew what she was doing, Sarah moved instinctively toward him. There had to be a reason for the light, something that could help them. "Sarah!" the man shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. "Don't come near." But it was too late. The moment Sarah reached out, the stone flared brightly, bathing them all in a blinding, warm glow. Lily gasped, her wide eyes reflecting the light that seemed to breathe life back into the air around them. "Mommy!" The keeper of shadows recoiled, its expression morphing into something almost comical in its horror. "No! You don't understand," it hissed. "Understand what?" Sarah shouted, heart racing as the light grew brighter. The vibrations of that glowing stone pulsed through her, a chaotic beauty thrumming against her skin. In that instant, she felt a shift within. Something ancient stirred in her. The air thickened with possibilities, visions flooding her mind of places unknown and power untamed. With a shared breath, Sarah and Lily stood together, focused, resolute. They were ready to fight back, ready to embrace the truth. As the light enveloped them, the Keeper of Shadows shrieked in despair. And then, just as quickly, silence fell. Had they won? Had they unleashed something deeper, something boundless? The darkness swirled at the edges of the clearing, the threat not vanquished just shifted. Sarah held her breath, heart racing with hope and fear. What secret had they just awakened? And then, the stone pulsed again, beckoning to them, a harbinger of something extraordinary about to unfold. Sarah blinked hard, trying to adjust to the sudden quiet that followed the explosion of light. The pulsating glow of the stone filled the clearing, illuminating the shadows that had blanketed everything moments before. She could feel a warmth that spread through her, wrapping around them like a protective embrace. Lily nestled into Sarah's chest, her tiny heartbeat racing in rhythm with Sarah's own. "Mommy, what's happening?" she whispered, her voice a fragile thread hanging in the air. I don't know, sweetheart," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her stomach. "But we're together, and that's what matters." The figure of the Keeper of Shadows seemed to quiver, a dark silhouette wavering against the brilliance of the stone. "You've made a mistake." Its words oozed through the silence, more of a threat than a description. "You don't realize what you've unleashed. The power isn't just light, it's chaos." Max, still struggling to regain his balance, stepped forward again, solid and unyielding. "We'll face whatever comes next together. You will not claim her destiny." Lily lifted her head, her small face glowing with determination. "I want to help too. I have power." It was the first time Sarah had heard Lily speak of her abilities so openly. The child always seemed to shy away from her own gifts, fearful of what others might think. "Lily, no," Sarah began, but the words caught in her throat. There was something different about her daughter now, something fierce that stirred within her. "You don't need to protect her." The Keeper of Shadows straightened, its voice now laced with confusion and irritation. "You don't know what's at stake. Her powers are not meant for the light." "Then let us find out," Max shouted, cutting through the tension like a knife. The man seemed to draw strength from Lily's renewed spirit, every word said with the unmistakable force of belief. As the stone pulsed once more, Sarah felt another wave of energy race through her. It was as if the light was beckoning them to something greater. She could see glimpses of colors, shapes, and figures swirling in the glow, a tapestry of destiny unfolding like a magical map. "Lily," Sarah said, crouching to meet her daughter's eyes, "if you feel something, if you believe in your power, then you have to trust it. We can't be afraid anymore. We will fight together." Lily nodded, a fierce flicker igniting in her gaze. The Keeper of Shadows seemed to falter, caught between the delinquent light and the darkness that threatened to consume them all. "You don't understand. The light is just a mirror reflecting the darkness within. You will regret this choice." Sarah felt a tremor beneath her feet, a rumble like distant thunder. The shadows skittered closer, weaving together to form an indistinct mass of swirling dark tendrils. The energy shifted, and with it came a feeling of rising panic. "Get ready!" Max shouted as he drew closer, preparing to confront the dark figure. Within the blinding light, Sarah felt a surge, a pull that beckoned her to reach deeper. It was the voice of generations, calling to her, echoing wisdoms long forgotten. Suddenly, everything stopped. Time held its breath as an ancient chant filled the air, the words unfamiliar yet deeply resonant, thrumming with profound power. Realization washed over her, a revelation that could change everything. "Lily, you can channel it. We can channel it." As she spoke these words, the light intensified, and they were collectively drawn into a new dimension of understanding. The Keeper of Shadows shrieked in agitation as tendrils of darkness broke against the light. But would it be enough to fend off the impending threat? Would they stand their ground, or would they lose the battle before it even began? In that instant, Sarah couldn't be sure. All she knew was that they were standing on the brink of something monumental, and whatever was coming next would either redefine their fate or plunge them back into the depths of despair. And amid that uncertainty, the stone pulsed one last time, its glow flaring into a dazzling spectrum that shattered the darkness around them. The light exploded in a whirlwind of color, washing over them in radiant waves. Sarah could barely breathe, the warmth of the luminescence wrapping around her and Lily, granting them a moment of clarity amidst the chaos surrounding them. Max stood beside them, his expression a mix of determination and disbelief, as if he was struggling to grasp just how elevated the stakes had become. Sarah's gaze flickered back to the Keeper of Shadows. The figure twisted in the light, as if being battered by an unseen wind. It drew back, awe painting its features for the first time. "You cannot comprehend what you are defending." The voice, once menacing, now trembled against the brightness. "Those who stand in the light attract darkness. It will find you." "Then let it come," Max challenged, his fists clenched at his sides. "We're stronger than it knows." Feeling the surge of collective energy, Sarah leaned down, her forehead gently brushing against Lily's. "You're not just my daughter. You're a force, and today you'll show the world that." Lily's small hand gripped Sarah's tightly, her fingers trembling with both fear and excitement. "I'm ready, Mommy. I can feel it." The words danced like flame in the air. With a deep breath, Sarah nodded, her heart cracking wide open. "Then we stand together." She raised her other hand, channeling everything she felt: fear, love, hope into the light. As they united, a palpable bond formed, anchoring them against the tumult of shadows swirling around them. The pulsing stone resonated, vibrating with their combined energy, and a brilliant beam shot upwards, slicing through the darkness that loomed, but the Keeper of Shadows wasn't finished. "Foolish mortals," it sneered, and the darkness thickened, wrapping like a creeping fog around them. "Your power is nothing but a flicker against the vastness of despair." "I'll show you despair," Max yelled back, his voice ringing with authority. He stepped toward the shadows, eyes blazing with challenge. "You think you know me? You do not." Caught in the moment, Sarah felt her amplified heartbeat echoing a silent promise. If they were to unravel this, they needed to go deeper. "Lily," she called, pouring her soul into the atmosphere. "Channel your strength, let it flow." The air shimmered as Lily closed her eyes, her small body unwittingly magnetic. Colors swirled around her, ribbons of light intertwining like a tapestry, spilling from her hands. She was a beacon, illuminating the dark with the ferocity of a newborn sun. The Shadow Keeper screamed, its form wavering under the weight of the incoming light. "This cannot be." It howled, yet its voice faltered, fear breaking through its once daunting presence. Sarah dared to breathe hope into the space, feeling the connection strengthen. "We will not back down. Not now." With a final surge of energy, the light shot forward, washing over the mass of shadows like a flood, and for an instant, the dark was illuminated, revealing shapes of fear, memories of pain and loss as they disintegrated in the glow. But just as it seemed like victory was within grasp, the ground began to tremble once more. The air thickened with anticipation, crackling like electricity, and without warning, a seismic shock rippled through the clearing. "What is happening?" Lily wailed, eyes widened in terror. "Stay close to me," Sarah shouted as she tightened her grip on her daughter. The stone pulsed violently, colors morphing in a chaotic dance. In that chaos, a portal began to form, a swirling vortex swirling amidst the remaining shadows. Max's face turned grave. "We need to choose. Stay and fight, or jump through and possibly lose everything." Heart racing, Sarah glanced at Lily, knowing what was truly at stake. They had come so far, but could they risk everything for the unknown? As the pull of the vortex tugged at them, Sarah's heart thudded. What do we do? In that moment, the very fabric of their destiny hung in the balance, teetering on the brink of choice. Would they dive into the unknown or stand their ground against the darkness? The echoes of shadows whispered threats, but Sarah tightened her resolve. Whatever lay on the other side, she would face it for her family. Together, she breathed, the word a lifelong promise resonating deep within her soul. And with that, they inched closer to the swirling portal, uncertainty painted in vivid strokes as dread and hope mingled in the air. But safety only seemed to elude them, leaving the question lingering: what awaited them in the abyss? Was it a path to redemption, or the end of their fight? The pull of the swirling vortex intensified, drawing Sarah, Max, and Lily closer as it radiated a haunting melody, a siren call that promised both danger and possibility. The ground beneath their feet shook violently, each tremor echoing through Sarah's bones. She felt the warmth of Lily's hand slipping from her grasp, and panic surged in her chest. "Mommy!" Lily's voice pierced the chaos, layered with fear and trust. "Hold my hand, sweetheart," Sarah urged, squatting low to catch Lily's gaze, her heart racing as she fought against the overwhelming force. "I want to let you go." Max reached out, grasping for both of them, eyes wide with determination. "We can't be separated. If we jump together." Time felt fluid, stretching and compressing in that moment as uncertainty clouded Sarah's mind. She could envision every outcome, each one tinged with shadows of loss. But amidst it all, hope flickered. "On the count of 3. Max shouted, voice cutting through the fear. 1, 2, 3. They stepped into the vortex just as the darkness loomed, engulfing them. Everything blurred, colors dancing like flames, and the world around them swirled into a cacophony of sound and sensation, voices whispering secrets and riddles. As they tumbled forward, the sensation was dizzying, like being swept along a river current without knowing where it would lead. Fear clawed at Sarah, but that fear was intertwined with something else: her love for Lily, for the life they had built, propelling her forward. Suddenly, they landed not with a crash, but softly, as if the universe gently placed them on solid ground. Sarah blinked, her eyes adjusting to a world that was startlingly vibrant. Colors burst around them, wild and alive, glowing ribbons of light weaving through lush landscapes. Where are we?" she whispered, taking it all in. Max stood beside her, awe flooding his features. "It's beautiful." His voice trailed off as he stepped further into the new realm, gazing around, soaking in the extraordinary sight. Lily tugged on Sarah's arm, her eyes wide. "Look, Mommy! The trees are singing." She pointed to the vibrant foliage, clear notes echoing from the leaves, a melody built from nature itself. Sarah's heart swelled, but then a shadow darted at the periphery of her vision. A dark figure twisted amongst the beautiful surroundings, a flicker of the Keeper of Shadows. It hadn't been vanquished, only momentarily thwarted. The fear returned, pounding in her chest. "Stay close." She instinctively wrapped her arms around Lily, pulling her close as Max scanned the horizon. "We need to find a safe place." "Where would that be?" Max frowned, turning in a slow circle. "Are we just going to stand here?" But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this place was more than it seemed. There was something deeply rooted in its beauty, a way to confront the darkness through understanding rather than brute force. "Let us explore," she said, her voice steadying with each word. "Maybe there is something here that can help us." With cautious steps, they moved into the lush terrain, Sarah keeping Lily anchored to her side. Each step felt like a journey of discovery. The ground pulsed under their feet, vibrant flowers shifting to greet them like old friends. But as they ventured deeper, Sarah found something unexpected: glimpses of memories, echoes of her own past interwoven into the landscape. A shimmering pond reflected her childhood laughter, a vast field held the ghost of her wedding day, and amidst it all, she sensed the shadows still lurking. "We can't let them in," she murmured, glancing back towards Max and Lily. Before they could process their surroundings, a rumble broke the harmony of the place, vibrating through their bones. "Is this a sanctuary or a trap?" Max asked, eyes narrowing at the gathering storm clouds. Just then, a brilliant creature appeared, its form luminous and pure. "A guardian?" It watched them closely, its eyes filled with wisdom, as if it knew their fears and their hopes. "Welcome, seekers of light," it spoke, its voice like a dinner bell for the soul. "Will you face the shadows within your hearts, or are you destined to flee?" The question hung in the air, heavy with promise and laden with dread. Sarah exchanged a glance with Max, and then one with Lily, the weight of the moment crystallizing in an emotion she couldn't name. Could they confront the shadows that had haunted them, or would this journey lead to something darker than they ever imagined? Together Sarah whispered, feeling the certainty burn in her chest. But as they prepared to move forward, fear gripped her. What awaited them? Would they find answers or lose themselves entirely? The creature's luminous form shimmered in the muted light, casting a warm glow over the three of them. Sarah felt an unspoken energy radiating from it, a serene promise that somehow balanced the growing darkness. She held her breath, the weight of its question sinking into her being. "Face the shadows," she repeated softly, eyes darting to Max and Lily. They both nodded, their expressions a mix of courage and fear. They were in this together. "Why must we face them?" Max asked, his voice steady but laced with trepidation. "What if they consume us?" "The shadows hold the truth," the creature replied, its voice a soothing melody. "And only by confronting your fears can you unveil your greatest strengths." "Strengths?" Lily echoed, her innocence cutting through the tension. "Like being brave?" "Exactly, little one," the creature said, turning its gaze down to meet Lily's wide-eyed wonder. "Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the choice to continue despite it." Sarah felt a warmth washing over her as she watched the two interact. Lily's small hand squeezed hers tighter, and that connection gave Sarah the strength she didn't know she was lacking. "Okay, we'll try," Sarah said, her voice firmer now. "But what if we don't know how?" "Fear not," said the creature, gliding forward gracefully. "I will guide you. Step forth into the embrace of the trees. Let the sounds of your memories surround you. They will lead." It gestured towards a grove of ethereal trees, their branches undulating with melodies that grew more intense. "Do we have to go alone?" Max asked, a hint of worry creeping into his tone. "All of you go together, but you must walk into your own minds," it explained, the light pulsing like a heartbeat. "Each of you has shadows waiting. You must look upon them before they can be transformed." Fear and trepidation mixed with a spark of determination within Sarah. "We can do this," she murmured. "Together." With Lily's hand in hers and Max beside them, they stepped into the grove. As they moved closer, the world around them began to shimmer and shift. The trees whispered louder now, sending echoes of laughter, tears, and celebrations through the air. "Do you hear that?" Max asked. "It's beautiful. But there's something else." As they ventured deeper, shadows began to rise from the ground, twisting and contorting, forming familiar faces. Memories long buried floated to the surface. Sarah saw glimpses of the hurt from her past, old regrets, moments of failure. Max's shadow encased him in his own barriers, his fears of inadequacy looming over him. Lily quivered, shadows of abandonment tugging at her innocent heart. "No!" Sarah gasped, stepping back. It felt like 1,000 cold fingers gripping at her. "I don't want to see them." "But you must," echoed the creature, its voice stronger now. "These shadows are the pieces of you that need light. They are not here to harm." Tears stung Sarah's eyes as she fought against the swirl of emotion. "How do we help them? How do we make them go away?" "Answer their call. Embrace them," the creature guided. "Speak to them, acknowledge their existence. Only then will they release their hold." Taking a shaky breath, Sarah focused on the memories in front of her. "You are part of my story, but you do not define me," she said, resolute as strength pooled in her chest. "I can rewrite our ending." As the words escaped her lips, a warm light enveloped her, breaking through the oppressive shadows. The darkness began to dissipate, swirling away like mist in sunlight. But suddenly, a chilling laughter erupted from the shadows. You think it's that simple? Sarah's heart raced as she turned to see a figure taking shape, a silhouette darker than the night. It grinned, eyes glinting with malice. You'll never be free of your past. You carry it with you, forever. Sarah's resolve wavered. The shadows writhed violently, emboldened by the figure's cruel words. Stay with me. She called to Max and Lily, panic threading through her voice. As they stood united against the swirling shadows, Sarah's heart thundered in her chest. They had come this far, but could they really confront the darkness that threatened to overwhelm them? Face it together, the creature urged, appearing beside them like a beacon of hope. Only through love and unity can you overcome this moment. With the shadow looming larger, they took one collective breath. Could they lift the veil of fear? Would they find the courage to rewrite their pasts, or would the shadows of their memories choke the light from their spirits? Determination bubbled within Sarah as she tightened her grip on Lily's hand. Together, she whispered again. And they confronted the darkness that awaited. As the shadows twisted and writhed, Sarah steadied her breath and began to speak, her voice shaking yet resolute. I see you, she declared, each word tearing through the thick blanket of fear. You are born from my memories, yes. But you do not control me. I am stronger than my past. She could feel Lily's small hand gripping hers tightly, their connected strength radiating outwards like a bright beacon against the oppressive gloom. Max stood firm at her flank, growling softly, determination shining through his intelligent eyes. The figure of malice before them faltered for just a moment, unsure how to respond. You really believe that? It hissed, its dark energy swirling menacingly. You cannot escape the shadows of who you were. They will always haunt you. But they don't have to, Lily piped up, her small voice breaking through the heaviness, innocent yet full of wisdom. You're not real. You're just a part of the old story, and Mommy is writing a new one. At her words, Sarah felt the pulse of strength surge through them. A light, warm and vibrant, began emanating from Lily, illuminating their surroundings with colors brighter than anything Sarah had seen before. Memories once shrouded in darkness transformed in the embrace of their collective light, revealing not only hurt but also countless moments of joy and love intertwined deeply in her past. The figure swayed, agitation creeping into its stance as the brightness pressed against it. You think this pathetic light can save you? You're still the weaklings you've always been. No. Sarah shouted, the weight of her voice reverberating through the grove. We are not weak. We are family. And together, we create our own path. With that declaration, a radiant wave burst forth from the three of them, washing over the shadows and swirling towards the dark figure. It crackled with energy, merging their fears and hopes into a beautiful tapestry of resilience. Suddenly, the night air filled with warmth and life, driven by their united spirit. As the shadows began to recoil, Sarah caught glimpses of her old self, a version of her that had long carried the weight of guilt and shame. She could now see the struggle reflected back at her, the pain that shaped her journey but did not define it. Just as I see you, I see the parts of me that learned how to grow, she whispered softly, the loving light surrounding her folding in like a protective blanket. Lily chimed in, pure joy illuminating her features, and with love, we find the light. Not just for ourselves but for everyone, even you. The malevolent figure gnashed its teeth, anger bubbling over. Love? You think that will save you? You're fooling yourselves. But as it cried out, the light surged brighter, filling the clearing with an ethereal glow. It pushed back against the darkness, each illuminating wave of energy shattering the formidable facade of despair. Well, what if we decide to love ourselves? Max growled, a protective edge creeping into his bark. The energy swirled faster, pulsating with each heartbeat as they faced the looming shadow together. As the force of their combined spirit seeped into the dark corners, a magnificent transformation began to occur. The shadows shimmered and quivered as they slowly drifted away, revealing fragments of the beautiful memories that had been buried beneath. Laughter, warmth, love, all the colors of their shared experiences poured forward into the space they occupied. No! This isn't happening. The figure screamed as the last remnants of darkness dissolved into shimmering dust. With a brilliant flash, the entire grove pulsed with life, and in that instant, Sarah, Lily, and Max stood on the precipice of a new beginning. The air shimmered with myriad possibilities, and the weight of fear lifted, replaced by a profound sense of peace and unity. From that moment, the past no longer loomed as a terrifying shadow but instead became a series of stepping stones that led them forward. The guardian creature stepped closer, its wise eyes glinting. You have chosen light. By confronting your shadows, you have forged a powerful bond that transcends fear. Now, you must continue the journey with grace and compassion. Together, Sarah repeated, the word resonating within her as she looked at Lily and Max, a firm certainty radiating through her heart. They were ready to embrace the future. As the vibrant colors glowed around them, a path opened before them, alive with potential and promise. Leaving behind the darkness, they stepped forth into a world that awaited their love, warmth, and bravery. Yes, challenges would come, but with each other beside them, they would sculpt a new narrative, a story of unstoppable unity and endless possibilities. Among the flowers ringing with melodies of hope, their hearts resounded with a simple truth: love is a journey, and they were finally home. Now, this is your moment. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button immediately to catch our next exclusive stories. You need to be a part of this community. Leave a like now, and let us feed the algorithm together. Comment with your thoughts about this incredible journey and share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. This is your chance to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.